Hello everyone, Dokyo here, and welcome to another Minecraft Dalek Mod video. Today we are in Minecraft 1.12.2 with the Dalek Mod, and we will be exploring some of the TARDIS commands. So quite a while back, actually, Subdivide recommended that I make a video about the TARDIS summon command. And summon should be in quotes because it's actually a set block command that sets down a TARDIS with a proper ID value in case you accidentally broke your exterior and lost your TARDIS. This was for 1.8, and surprisingly to me, it turned out to be one of my, or I think the most popular video on my channel. It actually helped a lot of people, and it was extremely useful. Now in 1.12, there are a number of alternatives to do this, and the Dalek Mod team has actually written some commands into the mod that actually are designed to help you with this. Today I wanted to make an update to that summon command video to show off these new commands that are included in the Dalek Mod to help you with your TARDISes, and if you are a server admin, this will especially help you with running your server. In fact, I think a lot of these are probably recommended by the server admin on the SWD servers to help out with managing all of that. So what we will be going into is the TARDIS commands included in the Dalek Mod. So if you just press down the / button and do TARDIS and just tab to autofill, you can actually see that there are a few TARDIS commands. We'll be focusing on the admin command, but there are a number of others. The TARDIS interior position is one of the most useful if you're building a custom TARDIS, because you can set up where the entrance or the exterior of the TARDIS is going to take you into the TARDIS dimension. Tardis Companions is useful for adding other companions. I won't be able to show that off in a single player world, and a lot of other things as well. TARDIS list is also extremely useful, and we will be getting into that a little bit later into the video. But today I want to focus primarily on the tardis-admin command. So if we press the spacebar and press tab again, you can see that it will autofill in all of these different options that we can use. Now, WTAILA, that one I honestly have no idea what it does. I'm sure somebody in the community can help me out with that. But there are a number of other commands that we can focus on. So Tardis Companion, obviously this can add companions to a specific TARDIS. So just give a player name and which TARDIS you want to add them as a companion to. This is very useful in multiplayer if you want other people to be able to fly around in your own TARDIS. But again, I won't be able to show that off in a single player world. There's also the data change command, which as we can see, you can select a TARDIS at a position, identify it with its TARDIS ID, and you can actually alter some of its TARDIS data. So I imagine that this would be used for things like, I'm not sure, rematerializing it maybe, turning off the force field, things like that. I don't know if it's the NBT structure, but again, this is more or less for server admin to use in a multiplayer world, so I haven't really tested it out. Tardis-admin list is a command that essentially identifies TARDIS lists by player. This is useful for admins to identify the number of TARDISes that a player owns in a given server. Again, since I am the only player here, it serves really no purpose to be running this command. We also have the remove command. We'll be getting into that in a little bit. And the set owner command, of course, is useful. I think it's self-explanatory for setting an owner of a specific TARDIS number. You can see a list of all my TARDISes included in the world will autofill if we run that command. Okay, but up next in the autofill is summon, and this is what this video is primarily going to be focusing on. So I actually summoned, I just pressed the enter button and it actually summoned a TARDIS with the last TARDIS that I was in, TARDIS with ID 5, to these coordinates. 635, 63, 154. So, yeah, it's just got to find out where 154 is on the Z value. There it is. I think we found it. So it actually summoned the TARDIS nearby. That's the most basic way of using this command. Looks like it's accidentally been placed right there. But there you go. That's pretty much, that just automatically summoned the most recent TARDIS that I had to a location near me. Now, we can also use this to summon any other TARDIS and to any location that you choose. So let's take a look at the TARDIS list command. Now we can do this again through the TARDIS admin command, but it's easier in a single player world at least just to use TARDIS-list. Pressing enter will actually give you a list of all the TARDIS in the world, and as you can see, Yikes, I have got a lot of TARDISes in here. I've been running this world since 1.8. Please don't judge me. Anyway, these are all in different orders because it's just more or less chronological and it fills in IDs from the lowest open value until the high, and then adds one every single time. So I'll be getting into removing TARDIS IDs in just a little bit, but for now, as you can see, we have a number of TARDISes to choose from. So if we go back into the tardis-admin command and do summon, we can actually choose, as you can see, from one of these values that are available for us to summon the TARDIS. So I'm going to go ahead and just select a random number here. And yeah, I can use tilde for my current coordinates, or I can offset it a little bit so that it doesn't land right on top of me. I'll put it off 2 blocks into the positive Z direction. Now I'm going to go ahead and press enter. And since this is a very old world, I heard an explosion. Okay. Since this is a very old world, it's possible that some of these TARDISes might be entirely broken. Let's go ahead and try another one. I'm going to try a letter value since these are more likely to be more recent. Let's try 77. Oh, there it is. As you can see, we have a TARDIS that is rematerializing for us. So I was able to grab TARDIS ID 77 and bring it here to the overworld for us to take a look at. This looks like a TARDIS I placed down in a recent spontaneous review video. I think this is the Zeta interior. But we can actually find out what exterior this is. So let's go ahead, back into the TARDIS admin command, and take a look at another one of these values, and that is Tardis Info. So we can actually go ahead, what was the TARDIS that I summoned? Number 77. We can go ahead, type in 77, press enter, and this will give us all the information about this TARDIS. So it is located at these coordinates. It has an interior position of the coordinates given, as well as rotation values for what you're going to be looking, where you're going to be looking when you enter that TARDIS. I'm pretty sure that's what those are. It tells you what dimension it's in, where its destination is sent to, whether or not it's in flight, its health, whether the HADs are enabled, the cloak's enabled, if it's locked, what permissions it's got. So this is extremely useful for server admins to want to know where a TARDIS is, what it's doing, etc. If they want to try to track down a player or something like that. Server control, I'm not entirely sure. I don't ever play on multiplayer servers, but you get the idea. But it is also helpful if you want to say, hey, what happened to one of my TARDISes, or I can't track this thing down, or whatever, did I leave it dematerialized, what happened? This gives you all the information about it. So I was right, this exterior is indeed the Zeta exterior. But primarily, again, the summon command is actually here, and it works, and this is a proper TARDIS summon command in comparison to the set block command that we used otherwise. So what happens, you might ask, if I break that exterior? It's gone now. Oh my gosh. Let's run this command again. Press enter, and look at that, it is back. So if you accidentally lose an exterior, this is a great way of regaining it, just like we could with the old-fashioned TARDIS summon command. So this is included in the mod now. It is so much easier to use, and it's really, really awesome. And again, this admin command really helps out server operators, server admin, if they are trying to figure some stuff out on the server about TARDISes and that, and just kind of general management. There's also another value in here, and I believe that this is a rotational value. Now that is interesting. I ran the command a few times, and as you can see, we're actually getting it to summon or rematerialize multiple times simultaneously. So that is extremely interesting. You can't traditionally do that with TARDIS key, but that makes some very interesting effects. Anyway, if you've lost a TARDIS in the world, accidentally broke it, want to find out what happened to some exterior, you can actually use this command to bring it back. And as you can see from my TARDIS list, I have a billion TARDISes in this world, and I can't possibly keep track of all of these because, like this one, a lot of these are just one-offs that I placed down for a review video. Anyway, the remaining commands in here are just the toggle lock and toggle open. So if we do toggle lock on number 77 there, it's going to say you have force unlock this TARDIS. Let me go ahead, get a key. Go ahead and lock this. As you can see, locked. Let's run that command again. We have force locked it. That is interesting. Why did that unlock at once? Well, let's do toggle open. That's the other command. That opens the doors automatically. but it is still locked. Very, very interesting. Anyway, this just toggles. As you can see, toggle open. That'll change it from where it was before to where it's going to be at. So if it's closed, that will open it. If it's open, that will close it. And as you can see, that is regardless of whether or not it is locked. Toggle lock should do the same thing. However, as you can see, it is not unlocking. It is actually keeping it locked. If I go ahead and unlock it, it will actually keep it unlocked. So I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. Because again, toggle, as you can see with the doors, it should do the opposite of where it's currently at. So, not 100% certain what's going on with that lock command. Is that a bug, or am I just not understanding how to use it correctly? Anyway, if we don't put in a TARDIS ID, as you can see, it will actually apply to the last TARDIS interior that you were in, which again is this one right here. So let me just do toggle open to demonstrate that. As you can see, there you go, the door is open, and we close it again. If you don't put in an ID value, that will default to the last TARDIS attached to your player. The same TARDIS that the unlocked TARDIS, or the unbound TARDIS key will summon, actually, if that helps to understand it. So the last things I want to put in here is the TARDIS remove command. This is actually an extremely useful command. So if we just look at the parameters for this, it actually has two options here, automatic or manual, and a TARDIS ID number. So let's just go ahead and let me identify one of these old TARDISes in my list, since it's pretty cluttered. Let me go ahead and run the TARDIS list command. Ooh, hit once more, even though I can scroll up and look at it. But as you can see, if I try to summon, let's just say an older one, let's try number 14 there, just cause. So tardis-admin, summon 14. That will apply it here, and as you can see, it's a broken TARDIS. It's just a bit of smoke, and I was able to walk into it. That was an Ooh, I'm falling. Oh my gosh. Whoa. Is this my stone TARDIS? My petrified TARDIS? Okay. That was unexpected. Shouldn't be the petrified TARDIS. Wow, okay. That's a surprise. Let's head out. Oh my gosh, what the heck? And as you can see, there's the puff of smoke. And I am somewhere away from where we were before. Oh my gosh, so let me give me a second to get my bearings here. Okay, we summoned a TARDIS to... TARDIS 77, when we used that data command, was at these coordinates. I'm going to go ahead and teleport myself to roughly those coordinates. That should put us back where we were before. Okay, not sure what was going on there, because as you can see, we still have that puff of smoke in that TARDIS that we walked into. It's in both locations. This is just weird, messed up, bugged, and I don't want this thing in my world anymore, cluttering it. So what are we going to do? We are going to get rid of this. That is where the TARDIS remove command comes in. So this was number 14. So let's just go ahead. We can do an automatic or manual removal. Now this applies to interiors. If we set it to automatic, it will remove a selection of the TARDIS dimension, just completely wipe it away. What this will do is it will just fill that entire area with air. That entire interior will be deleted, and when you place down a new TARDIS, presumably a new interior will generate in that space. It removes clutter from the TARDIS dimension, and that way you don't have a bunch of unused interiors floating around like I do in my world, because I've had it here for so long. So that's extremely useful. However, as you can see, this interior took us to my petrified TARDIS, and if I did an automatic removal, it would destroy my custom TARDIS. I don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to manual. What that means is you will have to remove that TARDIS interior yourself. That will stay there forever until you decide to get rid of it. That's what I prefer, because I don't want to lose a custom TARDIS. And now I was messing around with this command a few weeks ago, and I actually accidentally deleted a large portion of my regular custom TARDIS that I use, including much of the gallery that I used for my Boatsy painting tutorial, and part of the custom TARDIS interior that I used for my latest update video of the Dalek Mod Update 59. So what that meant is I actually lost that. It was just a big chunk of air that was filled in between those two interiors, and I lost parts of that. Fortunately, I had a backup world that I could use. However, that is annoying. So before you go ahead and run that automatic command, make sure you know exactly where that TARDIS interior is and that you don't have any custom builds anywhere nearby. Otherwise, you might lose them and you'll have absolutely no way of getting them back. So I'm going to go ahead and set that to manual. And what this will do is it will remove that TARDIS ID from my list, but it will not remove that interior. This will remove some of that clutter, as you can see in the list. So I'm going to go ahead, get rid of that, and then we need to set the ID number. So let's go ahead, do 14. I'm going to press enter. Wait, what did you do? It removed the TARDIS with ID 14, and I am once again inside of the TARDIS dimension. Did I accidentally do that, or was that, I don't know what's... This is a messed up TARDIS. This is a haunted TARDIS, people. Okay? That's why I removed the ID. It should not haunt us any longer. Let's go. We are once again back in here with a puff of smoke. Let me run that command again, just in case. Okay. Yeah, TARDIS ID 14 no longer exists, and as you can see, this is massively bugged. There we go. It's gone now. So let's just teleport back where we were, and that TARDIS will no longer appear in our TARDIS list. So if we run the TARDIS list command again, there is no longer a TARDIS number 14. And as you can see from this message, it reminds you that you have to remove the interior yourself. And as you can see, when we went back into that dimension, the petrified TARDIS is still there, and I have not lost that, which is good. Alright, so now then, if we set down a brand new TARDIS, gonna go ahead, grab one here at random, and another explosion. Wonderful. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead, grab another one, and set this down. And if we go ahead and take a look at this, bind it with the TARDIS key, for instance, as you can see, this now has the ID of 14. So actually what happened to it is if you set down a new TARDIS, it picks the lowest open number in the list. So it went through my TARDIS list, it went through 1, 2, 3, etc. Said, hey, you don't have a 14, I'm going to go ahead and give this TARDIS number 14. So that is what happened. Yikes. That reduced clutter in my world. It keeps it so that your list doesn't keep going up to infinity, and it just fills in the open gaps. So if you delete a TARDIS number, the next TARDIS that you obtain in this world will take on that old ID number. And if I go ahead and remove 14, teleports me to the interior. I'm not sure why it does that, but as you can see, it's a new location because this is where TARDIS 14 would have placed an interior down at had I generated one. Perhaps I should have. But if we go back into the overworld, that should demonstrate to us that that exterior is no longer there. In fact, if I go ahead and run the TARDIS list, as you can see, there is no longer a 14, and it should get rid of that exterior for us. That TARDIS isn't near as bugged as the other one, so hopefully it should actually work properly, unlike the other 14, which was just pretty messed up. Let's see if I can find my way out of this thing. There we go. Let's go. Finally, we are back where we were supposed to be. Now, presumably, what would happen correctly is if we place down that TARDIS and generate an interior. Actually, let me go ahead and do that. Let's do it the right way this time. Let's place down another one. Let's get rid of that. Get a new key. As you can see, it is now bound to key 14. Let's select a proper interior and get it generated. Go ahead, open that up. That lets us know that there is an interior in there. Let's go ahead and remove that again. What it seems to do is it teleports you into that TARDIS that you just removed, so that you can go ahead and remove the interior manually. And that's what was supposed to happen with the last one, except I hadn't generated an interior, which is why we fell into the void. So if I go ahead and exit this, this will become a null interior. It has no exteriors connected to it. It will clutter my TARDIS dimension until I decide to remove it. As you can see, there is no longer a TARDIS exterior out here for us to re-enter that because we have removed it from the world. So an extremely useful command, again, for getting rid of numbers on this list. And in fact, what I'm going to have to do if I wanted to reduce some clutter is go through all of these interiors, or all of these TARDIS IDs, identify what interiors and exteriors they have, and go ahead and delete them. This world has been running for a number of years now, and it's gotten pretty cluttered, as you can see. So these commands will definitely help with that, and hopefully they will help you in your own worlds. Honestly, I have no idea where those explosions are coming from. Anyway. And again, the most useful of these that I find is that summon command. This is a proper TARDIS summon command again. Let me go ahead, identify another one of these, summon that nearby. Let's see what happens. Oh look, we have a proper TARDIS now. And it looks like an Epsimo TARDIS. And so if you, like again, you can see all the clutter I have my TARDIS list. I can use that summon command to actually identify these TARDISes and decide whether or not I want to keep them or remove them. So that's a great way of reducing clutter in your world. That is the new TARDIS summon command to update that old video with. I'm sure the set block command might still work, but this is just a heck of a lot easier. And again, that tardis-admin command will really help you for your server admin, just to look at Tardis Info, change some TARDIS data around, force TARDISes to open their doors or unlock for you, etc., etc. Don't want any of those sneaky players with their secret TARDISes going around and messing up the server or anything like that. Anyway, guys, that was just a quick video I wanted to make explaining the brand new TARDIS summon command and a few features of the tardis-admin commands and that. I hope you guys all have fun using those, and I hope they help you out in your own single-player worlds or in servers. So I'm certain that somebody in multiplayer with more server admin experience can definitely fill me in on those tardis-admin commands and how those are supposed to be used, since I really don't know anything about multiplayer. But that, guys, is anyway what you can do in a single-player world on your own in a creative world for just grabbing, selecting, looking at Tardis Info, deleting, removing TARDISes, summoning TARDISes, and all that. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please leave a like if you liked it. And thank you all for watching as always. So I'll see you guys all in the next video. So goodbye for now, everybody.